Let's try this for a third time. See if I can keep my daggone finger on my camera lens. Okay. Basically, this is Right Stuff fuel line and brake line. Okay, I put the whole kit on this car. And it doesn't come with very much instructions. And one thing that the manufacturer told me to do was, on all these fittings where the stainless steel runs into any fitting, be sure and tighten and loosen it 2 or 3 times. That will seat that fitting so that it does not leak, because a lot of people talk about these, they'll get the brakes set up and they end up with leaks. The reason being is they need to tighten and loosen those 2 or 3 times. That way it seats that fitting, or the where it goes into the housing, whatever. So okay, anyway. I gotta get hats off to Summit and Right Stuff brake line company, fuel line, because they sent me the wrong rear brake lines. These are for a disc system. My Chevelle has disc in front and drum in the back. So these will not fit. They were too short. When I called, they did a 3-way call with Right Stuff. Summit did. Summit called Right Stuff. We talked. Turned out that they put the wrong rear brake lines in the kit I ordered. So they sent me the correct brake lines free of charge, and told me just keep the ones I have. And it was kind of cool. When eventually I will put disc brake systems on the back, I'll have the stainless steel brake lines. So that's pretty cool. They took care of the problem, didn't charge me for it, and that's how it looks. So I got both these run side to side. I did have to cut and weld a different bracket for this, because I had 2 different setups on my original Chevelle and the one they sent me. So, but that's something you can figure on your own. The original bracket moved this over so far that this was real tight, which means every time this flexed up and down, it was me jerking on that. I didn't want that. So, but that's something else. I guess I could have showed that, but it's no big deal. You'll figure it out yourself. All right, so brake line there, easy to figure out, because that's the only place it can go. Okay, so it runs from the cross member, you straighten it, and it runs to here, and this is where you kind of may get a little confused. But what helped me out was the instructions do show, this goes to your driver's side front tire, front brake. This goes to the passenger side. Underneath goes to the passenger side, and it cuts underneath front brake. And then the long one, of course, is to your rear. So once I got that set up, of course, the portioning valve, this goes to the master cylinder whenever I get it put in place. So that's how all that goes. Pretty easy once you figure it out. But when you set everything on the ground, you got all these wires, you're not sure lines, you're not sure where they go. Okay, now fuel line. Now, the fuel line, I've got also ordered the return also. So I've got sending, I got going fuel pump, and I've got the return line. And of course, it'll also have 2 lines run up to the canister in the Chevelle. But the part that was difficult was you have to run this fuel line through the frame, and how I did it, it wouldn't go very easily, and every time I got it pushed through, there's a cloth covering this thing, protects it from catching and wearing on stuff. Was I took an old wiener roaster, you can use whatever you want, heavy piece of wire, maybe a clothes hanger might have worked, I don't know, but I needed to basically, I shoved this through there and then pushed the into the fuel line on this, and it fed them both through at the same time, and I got the fuel line through. So that's got my fuel line through there, going with my fuel pump. So that's fuel line, runs to the back. The only part that I was disappointed was when I ordered the brake line kit, that runs, of course, brake line runs on one side, it came with the stainless steel clips. So that's great. Problem is, I have a fuel line on that. When I ordered the fuel line kit, it came with nothing. I had to use the existing clips, and of course on this side, it's a double, and all I had was a single. So I'm gonna move these singles over to here eventually, put the single stainless steel ones there. But I'm really surprised that Right Stuff did not send double for your brake line, fuel line, because there's 2 lines running on the side of your Chevelle. But I can use the existing clips. They're in really good shape. I just got to paint them. So that's that. So fuel line, and the way you can tell which line's where is that, of course, you probably know that the heavier line, the bigger, heavier line is your fuel pump, main sending unit, and then the return is going to be a thinner line, not nearly as big, which I am setting both those back up again. So I think that's it. Tighten and loosen the fittings 2 or 3 times and make sure they don't leak, because I've heard a lot of people talk about they leak. This is your front goes to the bottom. This goes to the passenger side, this goes to the driver's side, this goes to the rear. You got a fitting here, and that's pretty much it. Okay, I think that's everything. Let's get my daggone finger out of the way this time. Also, if you need to figure out how to hang your body, my Chevelle has been stripped out. So I just took ratcheting straps, hooked them to my rafters, and then hooked it inside the body. And just a little time, jacked up off the body. Now I can get underneath it, and I can work on the car if I need to. Basically, only thing I'm going to do underneath here is just clean it up. There's almost no rust, very little light surface rust. And from what there's a big controversy about whether you should strip off the old undercoating. I've had a lot of people say don't. If it's been on there for 30, 40, 50 years, it's staying. Leave it. It's already protecting the car there. Just clean it off and redo the undercoating. So, all right, that's a personal preference, I guess. So, all right, good luck on your Chevelle. This is my 71 Chevelle 454 Big Block SS. All right, can't wait to hear it run.